Large TVs are all the rage these days, with many manufacturers offering options well beyond 85 inches, even over 100 inches. But one manufacturer surprised me, one you might not expect. That is LG with a 98-inch QNED89. Up next.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, why am I surprised that LG has an option at this size? They actually are first to market with ultra large TVs in the last number of years. Their Z series is 8K and 88 inches. They've had those for a number of years, as well as their very own 97-inch G2 and upcoming G4. However, they're not exactly a good value compared to these other manufacturers' ultra large, ultra cheap options. This is where the LG QNED89 98-inch LED comes in. Now, a lot of you don't expect much from the QNED lineup. It's been kind of an afterthought for LG in the years past. However, this year it's been revitalized. I didn't expect much from it, and I was proven completely wrong from my time with it. And that's what I'm looking to share with you today. Without further ado, let's check out the LG 98-inch QNED89. Thank you so much for watching. All right, guys, let's do it. LG QNED89 at 98 inches. We are at Value Electronics right in the front of the store. Checking out the build quality, I believe there is only one stance for the stand out wide. It is very solidly built. It does look amazing. Not just the picture quality, but the build quality. Now, it looks incredible in this store. I will show you the company that it's keeping around it to where it actually stands out next to the Z3, the G4, as well as the 97-inch G2. So the fact that the QNED89 looks good in this room says a ton. You have your detachable power cable. There is that hefty stand. I love the design. I love heavy-duty designs for TVs that are this large. Also, the QNED sounds fantastic. I love its stance. You don't want something this big to be flimsy or at the same time too monstrous. You do have 4 HDMI 2.1 with 4K 120 Hz gaming. 144 starts with the LG C4. The LG QNED89 is direct lit. Now, for me, that would typically mean either edge lit, but no, it doesn't mean that at all. I double checked with LG. It is full array. It's a matrix of LEDs across the back plane. The 89 also has precision dimming, which actually starts with the QNED90T. And that precision dimming is excellent. The picture quality is amazing. Off angle, I'm going through the build quality once again, but it leaps off the screen. It is very bright, amazing contrast ratio, has excellent vibrancy. Now, if I sound excited, it's because I am. I had very low expectations for the QNED89 simply because it wasn't a mini LED. But once I heard it had the precision dimming, as I show you in comparison to a B&W full speaker, the size comparison, I was blown away the minute I walked into the store. Now, keep in mind, there is a massive window. There's 2 windows and a skylight above me. So actually, its reflection handling is quite good. You'll also see it later on in a darker room. But the picture quality is what really got me. Right out of the box, I'll show you the different presets in a moment, but I was very happy with every preset, including filmmaker mode. The image is very, very sharp and very, very clear. Now, it only has the retooled Alpha 8 processor, but if you told me that it was the Alpha 11 from the G4, I would have believed you, simply because for me, the clarity of it is better than almost any other large TV I have ever seen, apart from the G2 and obviously the 88-inch Z series. But for an LED from LG that's not really even being promoted at all, I was blown away. Really enjoyed it right from the minute I saw it, and then only appreciated it more as the hours went on. Now, as I do with every TV review or even first look, is I'll start with the top from Vivid, working my way all the way down to filmmaker mode. I will then follow up with SDR a little bit later in the video. The reason why I show you every preset is that I don't really want to cater to one group alone. I want you to know exactly what the TV can do and how it can look. The one thing that the QNED is missing at this level is Dolby Vision, which is honestly a shame because I believe LG has the best Dolby Vision implementation in the business by a wide margin, especially the new filmmaker Dolby Vision that starts with the C4. However, seeing its HDR impact, I didn't really miss it simply because having HDR10 is enough for most people, which is something I thought I would let you know about. Now you see me go through the local dimming to see how impactful it is. You'll also see me return and do that later on in the video. We get into the gaming portion. I will tell you, just 7 minutes in, it is my favorite gaming LED on the market right now, against Sony, Samsung, Hisense, and TCL. Not because of its feature set, other than the game optimizer I will show you later, its picture quality, and we'll discuss that later on in the video. But I was blown away by it the entire time. For me, the biggest shame about the QNED89 98-inch is very few of you are ever going to be able to see it. And I felt that way since QNEDs launched, not last year, but the year before. Last year was a carryover year for the QNED lineup. It wasn't fully realized, in my opinion, upon its initial launch. However, this year they have revitalized it. However, we haven't really covered them enough, and unfortunately, you're not going to see a lot of them in store, especially at this size. So I am very happy to be able to bring it to you, but I do feel the shame of it is most people will not give it a look. It is 98 inches, it is an LED. The processing is excellent, even though it is the Alpha 8, which has been retooled. The clarity, vibrancy, HDR impact, and the local dimming is off the charts, which you'll see also throughout this video, starting in some of the demo material right now. Now, the local dimming, as I mentioned, is excellent. The transitions are very fast in a lot of these demos, and it handles it with ease. There is no trailing, there is no haloing. Even as I raise the exposure, you can see there the glare behind me still looks incredible. The black bars are completely black. I'll show you that again off angle. But again, the flexibility of image from LG is they can look very accurate out of the box, but also look as vibrant and as saturated as you like. They do have that flexibility, especially in game mode, which is why I love the game mode on the QNED89. Now, as I run through the presets again, I'll do this several times throughout the video with different content on the screen. You do still have the picture wizard and all the customization of the other models. You do still have the ability to do the professional and custom tone mapping outside of dynamic tone mapping as well. But very clear. Now, what's interesting with very large TVs, and I say this very often when people have gotten into them, is if you do go for very cheap TV with poor processing, it will just be a larger, uglier image. And that's what I was afraid of for the QNED89. I was thinking, oh man, this isn't going to have the new processor. It's not going to have mini LED. And I was shocked at how well it's doing, especially without that extra processing and without mini LED. However, the precision dimming is really doing its job and is criminally underrated. But again, I'm one of the few people actually seeing it. And again, I find that to be a shame because this should be one of their hottest sellers outside of obviously the G4 and the C4. Now, we've been very critical of LG for relying too heavily on OLEDs. Now, they do, as I mentioned, have a 97-inch G2 and an upcoming G4. Those are the best looking large TVs on the market. I don't think that's really something we can even debate. They are OLEDs, but again, they are very expensive. The 88-inch Z series also expensive. But to have local dimming at this size, off angle, the exposure is there. You can see the rest of the room is very bright. There's nothing. Anything you see is also the glare. And I use this material from our good friend Jennifer Gala as it's an aggressive aspect ratio. It's not something that you can really hide. A lot of TVs can do black bars now with their own processing. This is aggressive, so it will show up. And no matter which angle I take, up, down, around, it's perfect. And that local dimming lives within the image as well. It's not just on the edges. But for LG now to focus back on the QNEDs and have a full array of them to offer, even an 8K version, which we will cover as well. The 86-inch is over to the left, and I haven't had an opportunity to go through that one either. There hasn't been, honestly, much demand for that. But I don't think many of you realize what it's capable of, and I hope to accomplish that with this video. Again, as you move into this kind of demo material, we'll go into some local dimming in a moment. It handles every piece of content I threw at it. Now, though I'm showing you all demo material, I do watch movies and sports with Robert Zone from Value Electronics while I'm sitting there. I don't just watch demos on my own. I do sit here and watch movies and all kinds of content. I'm there between 10 and 12 hours at a clip. This is a punishing demo. And the 89 handles it with ease. These are very difficult transitions. Again, the exposure is where it is. You can see everything lit around it, around the TV. It's doing amazing. Anything you see haloing is the window behind me. A special shout out to our good friends at Value Electronics for having me here to shoot the 98-inch LG QNED89. Please consider making your next AV purchase through them. Check the description below for all their information. Let them know that I sent you. Robert, Wendy, and Leanne will take great care of you. It's funny when Robert said to me, look, I have the 89 here, 98-inch, come check it out. I was actually apprehensive. It wasn't a priority for me. He said, you have to see it, and I'm glad I did. Again, as I mentioned, keep in mind when you walk into Value Electronics, you're only seeing the best TVs on the planet. LG's best, G2 behind it, 97-inch, Z series, which is new at Z3, G4, which in my opinion is the best TV in the world right now, all around this TV, yet this one still catches your eye. You want a large TV to catch your eye, not just because of immersion. As I mentioned earlier, if you have a large TV that doesn't have good processing or decent picture quality, then it's just an ugly image. The QNED has excellent processing, very clear, beautiful picture quality, vibrant HDR impact, and amazing local dimming, both on angle and off angle. So yes, I'm excited. I was actually shocked, and what's amazing about what I do is each year you have the TVs that you know are going to do amazing. You know the G4 is going to be off the charts. You know these other companies are going to do great, these other TVs. But when you have one that really surprises you, it's a treat for me. And to me, it's a gift to be able to bring that to you. Now, it's priced right now. I don't discuss price much because obviously these videos age and the price is going to change. But right now, it's actually cheaper than an 83-inch LG G4. Now, it's not as cheap as a lot of these ultra cheap TVs, but I do believe the quality of those TVs and the processing is not there. And again, you'll have a very large, ugly image, perhaps with not as good local dimming and or processing. Now you can even see as I transition from filmmaker through game mode and the TV goes black, even with the menu up, there's nothing, no haloing, you can't see the backlight at all. Even though for the moment it should be disengaged or it should show you something in between, nothing. And the exposure is staying the same. Screen deformity, excellent at this size. So now 16 minutes into the video, what is the big weakness? What is the negative of it? For me, the biggest negative is not having Dolby Vision. That's really it. I would typically say that not having the Alpha 11 processor is something that is a minus, that is easily there to keep prices down. However, the Alpha 8 is doing an incredible job in all content that I saw, even upscaling. Very impressed with the clarity. Now, again, as I mentioned, having an image this large, clarity is most important, perhaps other than local dimming, especially dealing with an LED. I don't miss the mini LED aspect of the other QNEDs, considering how good the local dimming is. Amount of zones is not discussed. However, I would put it against the other TVs at this size. If you told me that it was a flagship with the Alpha 11, I would believe you. If you said this was their highest end mini LED, I would believe you. And I'm just being honest, I was that impressed with it. Now, I do wish you guys were in the store with me as I go through hours and hours of this. Obviously, these videos are long, but I do trim them down, because constantly calling over Robert and or Wendy's zone and saying, check this out, look at this, check it out, because little by little, I grew to love it more and more. Now, actually viewing this in order is where it began to really hit home for me how good the local dimming was. These transitions, as we know, aren't easy. No problem at all. No haloing at all. Very impressive. It's not just that the blacks are great, but the image within is not dull to compromise for it. Going into some quick SDR footage, you'll see added presets to this. Sports, ISF modes will be added to the SDR preset. I did not notice the image becoming dim or anything like that when we switched into SDRs. You see me going through ISF Expert Bright and Dark. But it looked good with everything I threw at it. Special thanks to the amazing Jennifer Gala and her second channel, HDR Super Channel. She's responsible for most of the content you're seeing within this video. Please check the description below for all of Jen's content. I've seen me stand in front of the TV a few times to give you proper scale. I am 6'3", 230 pounds. The TV dwarfs me. It's not even on a very high stand, but it's definitely a few inches taller than me. I love that build. I love the presence that it has. Again, look at the black bars, look at the vibrancy, look at the HDR impact. Jennifer's content can be very, very bright, 5,000 nits. You don't see it clipping or losing detail at all. Gaming, up next. Now for gaming, I was absolutely shocked, and this is at the end of the night my most pleasant surprise, is I know we had 4K 120, I get that. I knew we were losing 4K 144. You also lose NVIDIA G-Sync at this price point. You do still have AMD FreeSync, obviously VRR, but it's the image quality. Look at me standing there in front of the Street Fighter characters. They're like small children, even compared to my height. I want to be able to show you that scale very quickly. Very responsive, no motion blur to take note of, fast transitions. But more importantly, I'll show you in a minute when we get to Horizon Zero Dawn, is the flexibility of image. As we know with many LEDs, the backlight has to be compromised, at least to some degree, to make up for the latency. Processing takes a hit in game mode for almost every major LED manufacturer. Now, the other companies may have 144 hertz and a lot more gaming features as far as that goes. However, those game modes can be muddy. I like that LG stayed at 120, didn't force it because you do get the clarity. And for many of you, 4K 120, whether you're on PC or console, is going to be more than enough. Even being a PC gamer with a 4090 NVIDIA, I don't really think G-Sync is a big deal without the module anyway. For me, any form of FreeSync or VRR is all you really need. Now, the game bar is here. The flexibility of image is also still here. Very important. But look at that picture quality. Now, dynamic tone mapping still here, HDIG still here. Obviously, Dolby Vision gaming will not be here. To me, that's not really that big a deal. And then you have that professional ability to change the tone mapping right there. As you saw me disengage it, you can go into professional and create the tonal curve, and you can customize the tone mapping, which is helpful in SDR. But I was shocked at the clarity again of the game mode. What's funny is you see me going through these presets, just showing you the difference in the game picture settings. I was holding my breath for this feature because no other mini LED manufacturer actually has this. So as I'm going through the menu here, I was actually a little bit nervous to see if it was there or missing. You're going to watch me in real time go through the game optimizer. I actually use this a lot with my OLEDs from LG. Is black stabilizer as well as fine-tune dark areas. Meaning, if the image ever looks washed out, you can then go in and lower that area without compromising the peak brightness. Only in those dark areas. You can create a more contrast-based image where almost all mini LEDs, their fine-tuned dark area only goes from the baseline up, so you can actually see people. So you can only make the image more bright, not darker, other than changing the brightness, which to me takes you out of HDR, or at least compromises it. The fine-tuned dark area and the black stabilizer really gives you that flexibility where if an image does look too bright or washed out, you can go in and alter it without compromising, again, HDR impact or brightness. No other mini LED or LED on the market has that. Very happy to see that here, and to me, that makes it a must-buy if you're a gamer. I would easily forego 144 hertz or G-Sync or any of the other things with LEDs as long as I still have that ability that was really only available for their OLEDs. Now, I'd already gone in and showed you the impact of local dimming in gaming. I talked over it, but that local dimming in tandem with the black stabilizer and fine-tuned dark areas is magic for an LED. Again, I use it on my OLEDs, especially in games now with broken HDR. You're able to really go in and fine-tune that. Other LEDs or even OLED manufacturers don't even have that option. You're kind of stuck to be able to brighten it, but not be able to darken it in those specific areas without, again, darkening or compromising or crushing the blacks of the entire image. Again, I use it all the time on my LG OLEDs. Very happy to see it here, which is why I would choose this as my gaming TV at this size. And I may have mentioned this earlier, right now this would be my pick if I was buying something at 98 inches. Obviously, I'd go with the G2 or the G4. First, it is quadruple the price. But for this price point, over every other manufacturer, I would take the LG QNED89 right now for that feature alone. Now, saying that, I am a big gamer, which is why I make that declaration. But even the movie, picture quality, sports, and up conversion, I would easily still choose it, especially at this price point where it's actually a little bit cheaper than the 83-inch LG G4. Now, Dirt is an interesting game to play, especially on LEDs, as the skybox will almost always wash out from a lot of the other manufacturers with LEDs. There's a lot of tinkering that you have to do to make the image look good. Nothing. Game mode, this is just a standard game mode, and it looks fantastic. Now, with LEDs, if you look at the cockpit of the car, if there is blooming, it will show up there. Nothing. So yes, very, very impressed with the LG QNED89 98-inch. A very pleasant surprise. Did not expect to spend that much time with it. But it went from being a consideration to a must-buy if you're in the market and you do like LG's signature, as it does translate from OLEDs here. But the gaming, definitely a plus, not a weakness in the least, regardless of G-Sync or 144 Hertz, which starts at the C4. Now, in closing, again, easy recommendation. It is about $5,000. It is a 98-inch TV. To me, you do get what you pay for. TVs that are much cheaper than that, in my opinion, you're going to compromise processing. At that size, it's going to be visible. The Alpha 8 is great here. I wish the Alpha 11 was here, but then again, the price would be much higher. It is direct lit, which is full array, but you do have the precision dimming of the higher end models. Easily recommended. No Dolby Vision, but for me, not a big deal because the HDR impact is excellent. I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Take care.
It's better to burn out than to fade away. There can be only one.